Welcome back, everybody, to the Blizzard Esports Arena here in Burbank, California. Don Monte Cristo here, and we are going into the fifth and final map between SEOUL Dynasty and the Houston Outlaws. Houston managing to tie it up on Junkertown, and now we're in a control map situation again. Ilios not going the way of Houston, though. Do you think they can change it up?
Well, I think at least they have a better shot if we see control center early on as one of our first 2 points.
Maybe.
I think that may be a big difference maker in terms of Houston. We, of course, are going to see Munchkin back in, as we saw in Ilios. And guess who else? Of course, it will be Boink, the control specialist support for the Houston Outlaws.
Whoa, look at that icy glare from Boink. He's ready to knock you off any part of the map he chooses, although not as often on Lijiang Tower.
That's his booping
Well,
face.
depends on the... That's okay, well, you know. Everybody's got one. Let's go to Lijiang Tower, guys. See what the first round is going to be. Houston Outlaws with a shot to get themselves one step closer to that playoff match next week. Should be sick. Here we go.
It looks like we are going to be on Gardens first, and this is actually probably one of the worst maps that could have come up here for Houston, and one of the best.
Very true.
For the side of the SEOUL Dynasty. And the reason is because you actually can play Widowmaker effectively with the longer sight lines, which of course I think is an advantage to Fleta. You could also play Pharah on this map,
yeah.
which is, as we've seen from Fleta, quite deadly. He has dominated the 1v1s, the aerial battles, the fighter duels so far.
It just doesn't seem like it matters what Fleta is hitting you with, whether it be rockets or long-range sniper rounds, man. He's going to find you every time, and you can be sure Clockwork's got that in mind. After that Lighthouse round on Ilios, as we get things started here on Gardens, it's going to be Pharah v Pharah one more time here.
Jake will be resigned back to the Tracer role, which he does play on the Outlaws when it comes to control maps.
Yep.
And Clockwork on the Pharah once again. Muma.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
All right.
We might see the Roadhog Diva combination for a second. Great for picks and for upfront damage to the tanks.
It is hard to forego that Winston shield, though, in a lot of these situations, so no surprise he's sitting back. They are being aggressive. Onto SEOUL right now. Jaehong. Oh, he was so low, but he's alive for the moment. Boink looking for more. That is some aggressive Lucio play right there. They've got SEOUL pushed back. Can they keep it going, though?
Outlaws playing super aggressively as this starts up. Many members of SEOUL Dynasty inside the pagoda on the side of the point right now. Woolmac getting low, but not going to be taken down.
Yeah, that's right. Muma low, Coolmat nearly demech'd. He will lose his mech. That is big. Zumba got that one, but Houston trying to flip the point early. Boink gets the kill on Miro, knocked him off the map again, but SEOUL coming back with the team fight win, and only Clockwork remains. And he is going to get out of there. Oh, did I say get out of there? That's before Fleta showed up.
Oh!
Yep, a little bit too close to the roof, and that's a splash damage finisher.
There's nothing you can do right there. Either you go down closer to the roof and eat the splash damage, or you're flying directly backwards over it, and it's an easy predictive rocket for Fleta, but he still finishes it off.
Wow.
See Houston on the attack again. Jake is wrapping around the entire map to try and get a flank. Munchkin is finding him on the other side as we look at this damage incoming from SEOUL over the bridge.
Well, Munchkin's certainly not afraid to take those 1v1s. Miro drops again. Toby right there with the resurrection. Going to use the Valkyrie to bring his Winston back up again. Fleta on the outside. There's going to be the self-destruct. He's at range. He's not going to take damage from it. Boink, meanwhile, looks like he dropped that sound barrier. But he might get dropped here pretty soon as Fleta comes in. He's got the barrage ready. Coolmat has to vacate the point again. And yep, that's going to be Fleta pretty much handling that one, and already sold near 50% here on Gardens.
SEOUL reading the aggression this time. Houston comes in with both a sound barrier and a Valkyrie. SEOUL falls very far back towards their own bridge and towards their own spawn, waits out the sound barrier before engaging with the Transcendents themselves. So counterpunch, strong from the SEOUL Dynasty, and they keep control of the point.
Yeah, SEOUL's been great about that. Miro falls first yet again, third fight in a row. He's gone down early. No res this time coming in from Toby. It's not safe to do so. Munchkin, though, with that pulse bomb, doesn't stick it, but Fleta right there with the kill on the Clockwork. A lot of that damage getting absorbed, though, from the barrage, but Boink does go down to Zumba's ultimate, and Munchkin right there to win the 1v1. Rockison Muma falling soon as well, and SEOUL will continue to hold. Their fights have been impeccable this match. Houston comes in, like you mentioned, Monty. SEOUL backs away. They find a defensive spot to wait things out. And the counterattack is potent.
Yeah, in spite of Miro dying first, they are able to poke effectively with Fleta, and they're also having Houston overcommit into self-destruct. So they're able to answer some of this. Clockwork's gonna get his ultimate absorbed right there.
Fleta down as his rockets, both supports out of the way for Houston. And it just doesn't seem like SEOUL's touchable here. Fleta looking for another 1v1. Needs some healing. There it is. He finds it on the Clockwork here. We're into OT. And as Muma drops and the rest of Outlaws are pushed out, SEOUL going to take a resounding victory on Gardens, 100% to 0.
Bury me, Fleta, in the audience. Nice proposal. And that was dominant. But as you say, Doa, the dominance comes from the fact that that was probably the best point for SEOUL. So actually, we are going to head into Night Market, which is, I think, really unfortunate for the Houston Outlaws. With Control Center, they'd have a better opportunity to be effective with the Junkrat and the kinds of compositions that they've seen success with in this series. That's a bit rough. And Houston going to have to pull through here.
Now, you might be worried that Fleta might get distracted by that sign, but I don't think he knows that word in English, actually. So I'm serious. I've talked to him in Korean and English. I think we may be safe. No distractions there. SEOUL coming into Night Market here. Houston needs to win this round.
49% of his rockets as direct hits. That is ludicrous.
No kidding. Well, Houston, what a position they find themselves in. They force it to map number 5, but they need to win this round if they want to have any shot of knocking out SEOUL Dynasty here. It's not going to be easy. Miro on his own again. He died a lot early on in fights, but this time it's Munchkin who falls first.
Now, Munchkin just died in a 1v1 to Jake, so getting the upper hand of the Tracer duel, and now Jaehong's going to be trying to fire in from
Toby
behind the point, but this is looking good for Houston.
Yeah, Jake finding crucial picks here. Jaehong, Toby, and Munchkin. 3 victims for Jake early on as Houston grabs a point first.
Jake really opened that up. By winning the duel on the side of the map as a SEOUL Dynasty spawned, he was able to wrap around the backside of the point and continue to deal a huge amount of damage on the flank.
That's right.
Jake doing great work on this Tracer at the start of Night Market, already with the Pulse Bomb.
Yep, built it fast.
Fleta now on the Soldier too, so he's done trying to play this Pharah. And that was a big kill for you.
Wow, Jake is becoming the hero of Houston here, man. He is coming up clutch every time they need him to. And that's going to be SEOUL sent packing just a bit longer here. Houston getting close to 40 control percent.
Wow, they needed these plays so badly, and now Jake is delivering.
Yeah, they're going to need him to keep delivering for this round and the next. A tall ask. Houston on the point already. They've nearly got it flipped. Houston needs to get back here.
Yeah, Munchkin was back capping.
Oh, boink down. They lost their mercy.
And they did, and now Jake's going to try and equalize, but Toby's flying into his team.
Both supports down for Houston. That's going to be rough. Jaehong pops a Transcendence to try to keep everybody up as they grind out this point fight. Zunba down. Clockwork found him with the Tactical Visor. And they needed to use both support ultimates here, and they haven't taken the point yet.
Well, they haven't. Boink's going to be coming back with a Valkyrie of his own, so Clockwork is going to get revived.
Oh, Munchkin! Couple kills with that Pulse Bomb, and it's Primal Rage versus Primal Rage here as Muma buys time for his team. 80% for Houston already.
Boink and Muma, the ones alive on the point. Muma will be the first to fall, and Boink will be the second. So finally, SEOUL will flip it back, but Houston gets close to 90%.
Yeah, they're in a good position right now. I mean, they've got nearly 90% like we can see. They've got time to build up some more ultimates, come back with a strong team fight, but in the process, they need to get some of SEOUL's ultimates taken care of as well.
Yeah, Fleta waiting on that, but Jaehong will fall to a Raucous headshot. It's a great way to start the fight.
Zumba with the self-destruct coming in.
Both supports for SEOUL are down.
Yeah, that's right. At least Zumba back in his mech. Maybe they can buy some time, but I don't think they're going to be able to buy much. No, Zumba on the run, didn't want to get staggered, and that's going to be Houston taking it back. They're at 90%. SEOUL needs to get back on the point in a hurry if they want to win this one.
Raucus's right click made all the difference.
Yep.
Yeah, now they're going to have to use Transcendence just to get onto the point. Miro is leaping through. Zunba's going to join him.
They are there. Fleta, meanwhile, with the tack visor, finds a kill on Amuma, but both Winstons falling. Oh, Clockwork smacked down out of the air. And Houston scrambling to keep this point alive. They've got the self-destruct to buy some time, but SEOUL all over it right now. Jake barely clinging to life. He will have to exit as SEOUL swaps it back. 99% now for Houston.
Well, Houston's not going to be mad about that at all, Doa. Jaehong had to use Transcendence just to reach the point itself. Toby had to use the Valkyrie once they were on the point to finish off the kills. And here comes Houston. They're going to be coming back with Boink and plenty of time with the Valkyrie. Houston have everything they need right now to put this map away and send us to Control Center.
And they really do. Got the cards right now. They need to execute. Coming in for that fight. Jake, a little bit of damage to Fleta. Ooh, he landed that Helix Rocket. Jake taking out Munchkin, finishes him off. Cool Matt, though, with a couple kills coming in, gets Zunba. And Houston winning this fight handily. That may be what they need. Miro wasn't able to get much done. He is gone. And as soon as Munchkin's out of the way, they're going to take this point right back again. And that may be it for this round. Can SEOUL even get there in time? Overtime ticking away. I don't think they can get there.
Zunba's going to get in.
No! Oh, he can't get there. We are going to Control Center.
Cool Map booped him out of the window as he was trying to come in to close the map. And now we go to Control Center. This is where Houston's going to be feeling great.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a round where they can play to their strengths. They can do things like even put Jake on the Junkrat if they want to.
Absolutely, and you definitely want to do that with Jake's performance on Junkrat, both today and in Overwatch League in general. I think Houston are going to have a big edge on Control Center. I think this is their match to lose now.
After the dominating performance from SEOUL on Ilios, Houston coming back and saying, no, we're not going to lose another control map. And maybe, just maybe, we're not going to lose this series. Houston with a chance here. SEOUL Dynasty, Houston Outlaws, winner of this round, wins the match.
And Zunba on his Zarya, his best hero, is going to be trying to charge up off of Jake's Junkrat mines. Munchkin will be attempting to do some long-range damage with that McCree, and they will be like hiding behind Miro's Reinhardt barrier. So a slow, tank-heavy approach on the side
for SEOUL. We'll see if it works out. Zunba's Zarya is legendary, but it takes a little while to get rolling sometimes. Jake unopposed in the back lines, and Zunba with the D-Mech on the cool man may have paved the way for SEOUL to take the point first here. Oh, did I just say Zunba's Zarya is legendary? Well, there you go. That's why. This guy is insane on this hero.
And that was a methodical approach. You could see how they were juggling the Reinhardt barrier and the Zarya bubbles. Zunba reaching maximum charge before they decide to go in. Zunba already at 83% of a Graviton.
Yeah. Now trust me, this guy has been good on this hero for years. And it's something that Houston's going to struggle with. Anybody would struggle to deal with, but Houston not done yet. They're coming in hard now. Miro bounced out. They got to watch out.
Oh, that was great. Clockwork up top, killed Toby.
That's right. Clockwork snuck around. Here comes a Riptire. Is it going to be able to get kills? No, Munchkin manages to get it, but without Toby, it's all on Jaehong to keep people up with that Transcendence. It's going to be tough. Clockwork goes down to the Riptire from Fleta. Clockwork brought back up again, though, and Zunba fully charged. All the damage coming in, but it's not going to be enough. Houston may flip the point here. We'll see. Toby pops a Valkyrie. Is not done yet. Zunba back in action.
Trying to come back down right now. The Graviton was used, but it wasn't effective.
Whoa, Munchkin
takes down Munchkin.
Now that'll happen sometimes. Outlaws, though, they are getting pushed back here. SEOUL holding for a long time. They've nearly got a flip. Oh, but Jaehong manages to D-Mech Coolmat, and that is going to be SEOUL Dynasty barely holding on.
As Zunba already 75% of the way to the next grab. Last one didn't do much. This one, though, might be on point, especially if they can fight in this choke. Miro is sitting on an Earth Shatter.
Well, they've got a lot of CC ultimates between Miro's Earth Shatter, that's right, and the
Clockwork's up top again.
Surge coming in soon. Clockwork down. And maybe Houston has like one more attack coming down to the wire here, but it is tough to fight against this Zarya.
It is, and they read that attack that time. You have to give new looks because Fleta was ready for Clockwork to come on the high ground. It was the way they were getting them out of the jump point.
Muma and Jake go down. They couldn't afford that one. Here comes the Riptire right in the Graviton Surge. And that will be enough, I think, for SEOUL Dynasty to barely pull this series out. That is it. SEOUL Dynasty will win it. But man, Houston brought it down to the wire.
What an impressive ending to that match from SEOUL.
Seriously.
Coming back with the Zarya, and they're playing around it so well, but you have to give some credit to Houston too, coming in without one of their major starters and yet still taking us to the distance, 0.3 in our 5th map.
Yeah. Wow, I mean, you think you've got everything that SEOUL can throw at you figured out, and then Zarya comes out. That pick from Zunba that we just haven't seen a lot of with the meta being the way it is, but reminding us once again of what a titan he is on that hero. And SEOUL are going to win it. After a disappointing loss to London, they'll bounce back, but they had to work for it every step of the way. Houston certainly making those guys sweat. Let's send it over to the desk now to see what our analysts have to say about that epic match.
That may have just been the match of stage 1. Fantastic match of the week for sure. Welcome back, everybody. It's Puckett alongside Brenna and Crumbs. Let's jump right into this. We have 3 games to cover, and it all started with that control. We were tied up 1 apiece. What did we see in that game 3?
A lot of play in general from Fleta. The guy was ridiculous, to be honest. Round 1 was he was on the Pharah, and he was absolutely destroying, dominating the battlefield across the board. Not just on the Pharah as well, it was his Widowmaker that deserves a shout out.
I think he had a 49% direct rocket hit on the Pharah on that map, where there was some ridiculous, on Lijiang, right. Yeah. There are some ridiculous stats out of this guy that with Mercy backing him up, there was just nobody that could touch him on the air because it was just Clockwork, the guy that wasn't even supposed to be here, trying to deal with him.
Absolutely. Clockwork found out today he was going to be in the starting lineup. Linkser let him know this morning, and honestly, you had to feel for Clockwork because it was Fleta dominating the Widow battle. He crushed on Ruins, and this was a quick 2-0 in favor of the Dynasty. Ruins a little bit closer than our first stage, but overall, it was all Dynasty, and that had me concerned for the Houston Outlaws going into a game 4. But one thing we know about the Outlaws is they have some powerful Junkrat skills here. Let's take a look at some of the highlights here on Junkertown. Solid attacks from both squads. Let's start here with the Dynasty on their attack. Fleta right back on that Widowmaker. Ryujay Hong, though, pulling out the Roadhog.
Yeah, interesting sort of switch up here, running the solo supports. A lot of teams like to do it on the Junkertown, but Ryujay Hong definitely impressed big time, to be honest, on the Roadhog role. And they mixed it up. However, the real story here, in my eyes, again, is Jake on this Junkrat, because the guy was, again, ridiculous, pulling out these crazy picks onto Toby numerous times. However, Wicked, this is a guy that you pointed out, Crumbs, as one of the sort of unsung heroes of SEOUL right now.
Yeah, exactly. The SEOUL Dynasty just realizes, you know what, we're not going to do too much to deal with Jake's Junkrat besides Zumba trying to find him when the ults, but instead, we're going to have the Junkrat of our own. And Wicked popped off just as much as Jake. However, he wasn't in every single game, so you didn't get a chance to see him do as much, but every time he was playing, he was just on fire on his Junkrat.
Now, I know we have a clip here. Even though SEOUL lost the game, we want to show that it's more than just Jake on the Junkrat. Go ahead and roll it for us here, Crumbs, as you break down the action here.
Roll it is exactly that, because Wicked was just chilling in here and waiting for the attack from the Houston Outlaws. He's looking for a target, but he sees Raucus, and this is just a Jaws movie, because he knows it's coming. He knows he has no choice, but it separates the Zenyatta from the rest of the team, and then the Transcendence healing goes down, and everything falls apart. So it's a great way to disjoint the Outlaw setup.
We mentioned it in the cast. You heard Monte Cristo calling out, when you see Wicked in the lineup, expect a Pharah or expect a Junkrat. What other heroes do you guys want to see from him in the future?
I think he fits this role very well, because he just subs in and out with Munchkin and Bunny coming in when the Tracer is necessary. So anytime that the Pharah or the Junkrat are needed, in the maps where you have to play these heroes, you pretty much can get away with them the whole way through.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, really, isn't it, as well? The fact that SEOUL have so many DPS players that they can just sub in and out, that Wicked really doesn't need to expand his hero pool.
They looked weak against London, but SEOUL, well, even though they lost game 4, they came storming back in game number 5. Lijiang Tower decided the series. And it all started off with the Fleta show once again, back on the Pharah, 99-0. Houston really never had a chance here on Gardens.
Across the board, and you mentioned the statistic earlier, Crumbs, but it was like 49% direct hit accuracy with his rockets. That is absolutely mental. It's almost unheard of in general. And it was an incredibly close game in general. You know, Houston Outlaws, they managed to bring it back to that round 3 on the control center, but ultimately came out. I mean, we discussed the compositions a little bit, but I mean, you disagreed personally, Crumbs, with the way Houston approached that round 3.
Exactly. So in round 3, you know that Junkrat is what the Outlaws are going to be running. And you know that Zumba is an incredible Zarya, so Zarya is going to have such an easy time dealing with Junkrat because you're guaranteed a high amount of charge. It results in him having the quickest ultimate in the game for that first round, even though it got eaten by Coolmat, but still it keeps your Zarya as a super dangerous threat because you're just dealing with the Junkrat. Free charge 24/7, and to me it felt a little bit cocky from the Outlaws to not recognize that you're probably going to be up against Ryan Zarya, and you should probably switch away from the Junk and run the Ryan Zarya yourself, or an answer to it that's not the D.Va Winston.
Seoul Dynasty finally puts an end to the Houston Outlaws 5-match run, and now it's time to crown our player of the match. And this was tough for us. Originally, we were talking at the desk, do we give it to Clockwork for filling in last minute and having such a strong performance? Is it Jake for his show on the Houston Outlaws? No, we gotta go with the Seoul Dynasty. Your player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. It's none other than Zumba. We're not giving it to Ryu Jae-hong. It's not the Fleta show. It's the D.Va. It's the Zarya at the very end. He was on point all series long for this squad.
Yeah, I pointed out his play on here in particular on the Horizon. His management of his abilities is crazy. The guy saving his boost, saving his defense matrix for the exact right time. How he survived here, I do not know. He should have been focused down almost immediately, but he seems to pull these plays and forces the entirety of Seoul to play around him when he's making these big sort of impact plays that's maybe not as visible because he is on that off-tank role, and it does go a bit under the radar every now and then.
And speaking of going under the radar, he actually ended up absorbing about 15,000 more damage on the D.Va rather than his counterpart Coolmat, and obviously a big part of it has to do with dealing with Jake, and a cool adaptation about it was that he actually ended up just hunting Jake every time that the Riptire would come out, trying to make sure that he was just going to find him, and you can see right there, 70,000 damage blocked.
What I find more important here is the final blows on D.Va and Zarya. 62 final blows was 25% of the final blows on Seoul Dynasty tonight. That is our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. What do you guys think of that series? You have fun? You're ready for one more? Because we're bringing it to you guys on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Day 15 continues in just a few. Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.